I want to talk about something. Seeing as how I mainly focus on video games, I need to talk about this one thing that it's the conversation's kind of died down now. But again, I am Repent. I don't talk about things that are current. I talk about things that are kind of more so in the past and or things that have already happened. As I've said before, these videos aren't really scripted. They're more so loose scripts. They have plot points and ideas that I need to follow, hence that paper. But for the most part, there are things that I kind of know and have cursory knowledge on, and I try to kind of put my spin on things as to how I feel and why I think these things exist. So for the most part, I'm just talking about yellow paint. back, not too far back, but back in the day, probably like 2, 3, 4-ish years ago, there was the yellow paint debacle, yellow paint drama. And it's mainly sparked because of the Final Fantasy, was it Rebirth? I think it was Rebirth was the one where Final Fantasy Rebirth had clear and distinct yellow paint placed on a mountainside, and people were complaining, as they usually do online, about how yellow paint isn't really needed. And I kind of have this different perspective on it, at least. Yellow paint in video games is kind of necessary, and some of y'all need it. And this isn't necessarily a dig at you, the viewer, or even people who happen to come across this video. Now, this isn't to knock your directional skills or anything, but I do think we have to kind of work on our understanding of why it's here. You see, yellow paint is a byproduct of a lot of things. But for the most part, the reason why yellow paint exists is a byproduct of realistically kind of old games, and games as a whole need to assure you go in the right direction. Yellow paint doesn't exist as to be a just annoying feature that exists in games. It is there because it's supposed to be a guideline factor. It's not a hindrance, it doesn't do anything, it is just there to kind of assure that people know where they are going. It is not a blight on the environment. In fact, it is mainly supposed to be integrated in a way that is helpful and unique to the player. The problem people have with yellow paint in video games really is that it's not integrated correctly. The main reason why people are getting a little annoyed with it, or were getting annoyed with it, I don't know if people still are, is because it's so blatantly obvious that they're able to notice it. And realistically, that is a real good reason to not like it. It is blatantly obvious. It's so present, it seems to take you out of the actual environment that exists. But the thing there is that, to a certain extent, it's kind of needed, right? There is something that is known as, like, subtle directioning that exists. So sometimes you'll see, like, divots in specific places, or, like, the environment will be more lit up in certain areas. Or there will be scratch marks here that kind of indicate that you should be going there, right? That's kind of the purpose of what environmental guidelines are. The thing about yellow paint is that if you're in a very much well-lit area or things of that nature, it's kind of hard to notice as much as in consideration to the environment, because sometimes that's just like, oh, that's the texturing of the actual rock, or that's the texturing of the environment as a whole. So you need yellow paint to kind of show you, no, you have to go this way. Part of this has to come from the factor of how games are made nowadays, you know. This is mainly because a lot of games that exist now are semi-open world to open world-ish, right? Liking open world games is fine, and to each their own. I don't really like them, but I get it. I understand people that do. In order to assure that people have the correct avenue to go, they make things easier for you by putting yellow paint down. It's necessary in terms of guiding your eyes. I mean, what is the most blatant and loud color? Besides, like, maybe orange or something, yellow is a very loud and obnoxious color to most people. It tells you something, right? It's a caution. It tells you, hey, look out, this is where you're supposed to be. In our psychology, it tells us, hey, I'm here, look at me. And that's the reason why yellow has been chosen as such a common color, especially in terms of telling you, go this way, go that way, go anywhere, right? Now, why am I saying that people need yellow paint? people are kind of directionally challenged, especially if you're not necessarily the best at video games or the best at understanding or keeping track of where you need to go. Yellow paint is kind of there to assure that you can always be like, oh yeah, here, 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 here. Let me follow this direction, right? This is kind of the same thing of like the compass.
Or waypoints even, you know?
The compass system exists to kind of like show, oh, right, yeah, that's where my quest is, I should go there and finish it, right?
The point I'm making here is realistically that all games have a way to guide a player, and realistically, yellow paint just happens to be one of the other mechanics. Yeah, it's the most obvious and obnoxious in terms of actually seeing it, but it's the least intrusive in terms of being actually in the game, rather than being an outside mechanic that tells you directly where to go.
Even in games that have these mechanics, like the compass system, or other ways of guiding you, they kind of also have a way of turning it off, and I think that's where people are getting a little annoyed. Yellow paint can't get turned off. You can't really turn it off, unless there is a feature that I don't know about, right? But for the most part, yellow paint can't get turned off. Now, I will say, yellow paint can be obnoxious. It is very much sometimes put in places where no rational thing should have yellow paint. But it's not necessarily the only option that exists. For instance, I've stated before, but there are other more environmental ways of showing that this is where you're supposed to go, right? There are, if you're playing in a more linear game, it's just go straight, right? They'll have like scratch marks and, oh, this place will be a little bit more faded, indicating you can climb it or something. But they don't tell you specifically where to go, right? Unless you are following the story, in which they kind of give you a pseudo-linear path, right? Like God of War is an open world game. Each section is pseudo-linear. There are off-beaten paths, but they have directly ending points with secret hits there, but then as soon as you finish it, you go back to the main path and you finish going straight.
The funniest part about this example though, and I'm surprised I didn't mention it, is that even though that's true, there is still like yellow paint and other indicators that show you things that you didn't notice to put you onto like secrets or even other paths that could give you something else.
That's kind of where God of War exists, and that's why it doesn't need yellow paint, because you're already following a set path. Things like, I wish I could think of titles. Things that are like God of War, or I don't know, what have you. Throw them in the comments, I guess. I'm blanking on so many games. You can walk around the hub world and a little bit around wherever area you are to try to collect secrets, but you have the one place you are going to go to finish the level, or to finish whatever. And this exists in a lot of games. You have the one place that you go. Yellow paint is only mainly for where it's easy to get lost and easy to get off the beaten path. It's not necessarily that yellow paint is the problem. It's just the lack of subtlety that exists now. It used to be very, very easy to just kind of be like, oh, in the back of my mind, I know this is where I'm supposed to go because you can see the worn out path. But now, because of games as a market being more widely known and widely accepted, you need to kind of factor in that not a lot of people know how to play video games. So you need to make it a little bit more obvious, especially to them. That's why you get more of an obvious way of playing them. And that's just because you have to appeal to more of a wider market. Now, the people who are complaining, they're like, oh, why is there so much yellow paint in my game? One, it's such a non-issue, right? It's not really a thing that's problematic. In fact, it's just something that exists that you can kind of move on with. It might hurt the environment a little bit. Like, it might be like, oh, that's kind of annoying, or it might break you out the immersion. And that's true, that happens to some people, right? Just a little bit of something that you can't really suspend your disbelief for could break you out your immersion. But again, I kind of say, you're weak. I get it, right? Yellow paint on a mountain seems weird, especially in terms of, oh, no one would be there. Unless in story there's some reasoning for that being there. It's like, why is this here? Why am I going there? Ninja Gaiden is also another really weirdly good example of something that doesn't use any paint, and people get lost like easily. You can get lost in Ninja Gaiden because there are certain things that exist in the game that don't tell you where you're supposed to go or how you're supposed to do things unless you've been paying attention to the entire story. Like, it kind of just goes, that's kind of your direction, go. And if you're not paying attention, you lose track of things. guidelines. Guidelines exist because if people were to ever get lost, they wouldn't know where to go. So in order to assure that they knew where to go if they got lost, they put yellow paint to assure people get to the ending point. This isn't because video game reviewers are so bad that if we don't put yellow paint there, they won't be able to finish. No, it's there because people as a whole can be bad at video games, or can just realistically just be bad at understanding directions. You ever like turn left on a turn right by accident? No, people could be bad at directions. It just is a thing. It's not like a punishment either. This isn't something that is like, oh, because not a lot of people know where to go, it's hurting my experience. This is like just an assurance type thing. But realistically, some people, some of you, might even need yellow paint because it's there to assure, oh, dude, I don't know where I'm going. Like, I'm looking everywhere. And then you miss the clear entrance hole. So yellow paint's there to be like, oh, I'm looking at, oh, there it is. That's the purpose of it. It's to assure you, me, my friend Johnny over here, don't accidentally miss the point we're supposed to get to. It's so you can get there. Hell, compass systems exist in video games. Not a lot of people still complain about those because you can turn them off. If you really care, you can turn them off and just tell and be like, okay, well, let me try to figure it out organically. And then you realize no one in the game tells you how to get to certain places organically unless you like do a lot of talking. They're babying us. Nigga, you play fucking sports games. No wonder they're babying you. You don't know how to play a real game. Not to say sports games aren't real, but still. I'm not saying it's bad. The art of subtlety is kind of needed, but there's kind of a threshold. You can't just be complaining. Yeah, this could look bad to some people. It's not my fault if it looks bad. It's the developers. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't blend correctly. We're not in that environment. Sure, but it's still there because it serves a point. This serves a point. That serves a point. You don't. Sorry. The yellow paint complaint has always been something that, to me, is such a non-issue that is very funny whenever someone goes, oh, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. That's the point.
Anyways, yeah, that's like the end of it. I don't have a real ending point to this. If you don't want to hear kind of what I have planned in the future, you can go away now. The video is essentially done, but for those of you who still care about what might be coming in the future, I'm going to try to keep an upload schedule. From now on, even though I'm pretty sure this video is not going to get posted by the right time, I should be posting every Friday around 3 p.m. EST. The next video probably should be the Somnium video. But if it's not, it's going to still be something that's a little bit more entertaining. It's not just going to be all ramblings. But for now, I hope you enjoyed. Please click some of these things. Engagement, you know, makes the videos better. It gets them out, all that jazz. But for the most part, I love you. I'll see y'all in the next one. Adios.